Roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
Welcome back to Declare Your Independence with me, Ernest Hancock, and my good friend L. Neil Smith. You know, things are getting bad, and I wanted to talk to L. Neil because, you know, there's been times like this before, even since I started doing radio in 03, that I could think of no one better to inspire me and to give me a perspective on where we're going than checking in with L. Neil Smith. Because as we're so focused on breathing in and out, providing for our families, eating food, as I'm sure L. Neil is, but his profession is thinking, just thinking. You know, do you get time to think and to extrapolate from what's going on now and see where the future is going? But one more thing in this hour before we get to that. L. Neil, I really wanted to pick your brain. There's a lot going on lately in the last few years in the libertarian movement, and it's been a big contention that it seems that this is a continuation of earlier battles that's been going on since forever. And a lot of the same names keep coming up. You know, it's you get the Koch brother crowd, kind of Cato people, and they'll criticize the more anarchist, agorist, voluntarist, leave me alone people of being Rothbardian. You know, like it's an insult. You know, you're just a Rothbardian. And the more I learn about Rothbard and you were around in his day, I'm going, is that supposed to be an insult? I was like, you know, what the heck? So tell me, what is that who, I don't even really need to know the names. What is the big battle inside? Because we always have the arguments of how many libertarians can dance on the head of a pin kind of thing. But really, people that go around slinging that word, I mean, heck, we got Glenn Beck telling us how libertarian he is. Half of the campaigns that I ran as a candidate against was against some Republican because they said they were libertarian, and I just felt compelled to demonstrate, no, they are not. So what has been the battle? What is it that compels these people to embrace the word libertarian and try and redefine it? You were in the middle of that in the beginnings. Tell me what's going on.
It is a matter of personal courage and integrity, and that's all that it is. It's a conflict between people who think that we will do better if we wear neckties than if we don't. It's a matter of people who value respectability over intellectual integrity. It began.
Okay, now I want to emphasize on that when you say they value. Somebody like, I always put it like this. I go, these are the people that are worried about what their mother-in-law thinks of their philosophy.
Well, they say that. But the important thing to understand is that's window dressing. What is going on is they are, in fact, embarrassed to express real libertarianism themselves. I served on platform committees, and they would come to us and say, well, we can't say this when we run for office. And my answer has always been, well, then what's the point of running for office? Why don't you just be a Republican or a Democrat or something if you're not going to say anything different, or if you're going to be embarrassed by what you claim is your own philosophy? But that's been the conflict, and it's been the conflict since the very inception of the Libertarian Party in 1971. I mean, at the very first convention I ever went to, there were arguments about, what it was wise to say in the platform, or factions that believed that you could fool people into becoming free, and they're just insidious. They're today. So what more can I say than that? Except that there are people who are truthful about their beliefs because they believe that's the best way to communicate. And also, I mean, I'm truthful in my beliefs because my stomach hurts if I'm not.
No, I understand that perfectly. But tell me about, why Rothbard? What role did he play?
Well,
why does his name keep coming up?
That is a very funny thing because Murray he invented the phrase anarcho-capitalism, as far as I know. I knew Murray, and ironically, he and I didn't like each other very much. I think it was a matter of personal chemistry. But even though I agreed with him more than I agreed with anybody else, I disagreed with the party founder Dave Nolan more than I disagreed with practically anybody else. And David and I were good friends. So it is a matter of personal chemistry. But Rothbard always struck me as being sort of middle of the road libertarian. I was, I considered myself more radical than Murray, among other things, because I was a Lefebvrean. Robert Lefebvre was another mentor and teacher within the libertarian movement, and he was the one who influenced me probably more than anybody else. The one that I knew personally who influenced me more than anybody else. And Murray always seemed a little stodgy compared to Bob. So, but if somebody says somebody's Rothbardian, all they're saying is that they're consistently libertarian, because that's exactly what Murray was, and he taught all of us, showed us a broader display of starting with libertarian premises, what kind of policies that you would end up with, than anybody else had to that point.
That's one thing that the reason that I enjoy talking to you, and I want the audience to understand this, is because there is a much higher influence on culture that you can have for your daily life than an influence in politics. Politicians don't lead, they follow. And they follow, the current. And the current is created by the people and what's in their minds. And when you have a medium like science fiction or, movies, and now with the internet and YouTube and all this other stuff, and Freedom's Phoenix has tried to take advantage of that, we have an opportunity now to direct culture, which has a side effect. Like in 2008, the Lovolution that went around. I mean, Dr. Paul was very good at, in a lot of ways, at presenting what libertarianism would be like and how it, can or cannot be integrated into our Constitution, our government. But the point is that he proved that freedom is popular, and there is another side that does everything they can to use their only weapon against people being free, desiring to be free, the benefits of freedom. They have to use fear. And that is being drummed in, and it seems that it's so diversified across every medium that it gets to where it's starting to lose its effectiveness. And people are...
I believe you're right.
Well, how do you see this, going into the future? I mean, we have our children that grew up along... Last night was the first episode on Russia Today, RT.com, of Adam versus the Man. Adam Kokesh, we got the Russian government paying for a hardcore, no compromise libertarian, calling out the media and what scum they are. And here we go. The Lovolution will be televised. And the Russian government, I mean, heck, if you had that in one of your books, nobody believe it.
You're quite right. We have two futures ahead of us, okay? And one's the one that I have often written about in my novels. My novels to be positive. I don't write negative utopias. I don't write about how terrible everything is. I write about what it would be like to live in the North American Confederacy, where everybody is, owns their own life and can do with it as they want. Or I write about people's colony on the asteroid Pallas, where the same thing happens, where people live a high-tech hunter-gatherer life and are free on that account. Or I write about the world of Mr. Thogosh and all these other dominant species from alternative versions of Earth camping out on the asteroid 523 Eris, and American Marxists going up there and seeing what that's like, what kind of society they've established. So, I've drawn, and I will continue to do so, pictures of what a free society is like. I'm working on a prequel to Pallas right now.
Pallas.
There's another future ahead of us, and I'll come back to it.
Yeah, Pallas, another great book by L. Neil Smith. And we'll talk about some of his books, but in his more recent works. But my main thing I wanted to share with the audience is that this battle for freedom and the definition of what it really means, because it's always co-opted. Let me tell you, Hitler's for freedom, okay? Bush is for freedom. Obama's for freedom. Everybody's for freedom. We're going to use the point of a gun to give you freedom whether you like it or not. We're all going to be free. This 45 says so. So I'm just, I pointed at you. So I'm just, we want to talk about these things because I think we're very close to having a big change in the way we live. Somebody's got to see us through it. We'll be right back. Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved into nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but we now have a fantastic alternative. FreedomsPhoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and FreedomsPhoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears has already matured.